Vicky will be in the background. Good morning, Trade Pros. There's Victorio. Say something, Vicky.
I rescued a spider.
He rescued a spider. What'd you do with it?
I thought they were in the plant.
Vicky found a spider and he put it in the plant. Now we're gonna have baby spiders.
Good.
I like spiders, actually. All right, let's kick this off with the morning market update. Hope you guys are doing well. It's Friday. How's everyone feeling for a Friday? East Village Bird Nerd. It's a cool name. Morning, brother. Sam Pell, good morning. Will, good morning. Everyone on YouTube, good morning. Let's kick this off. We got a few things to talk about this morning. Donald Trump said a few things that moved the market and had a little bit of volatility early on in the session. And here's what he said. I'm going to have to read a lot of this to you. He said that a deal with China is potentially very close. In 2175, I think phase one deal will get signed. And my kids will probably be trading robots and take advantage of the news. But I think this thing's getting ridiculous. I'm just looking at the market's reactions, and it doesn't seem to care as much anymore. We had some movement within a couple points. Typically, this would have caused a lot more drive to either side. And we're heading into an open today. There's going to be some volatility, and I do think that in today's session, we find the 3120 level. We get back to the 5-day POC. We spent a lot of time selling off, trapped a lot of people to the short side, and if we can push through the 14.5 on the equity market, we get a little bit of a tear and get some buy stops cleaned out from the shorts below. All right, but here's what Trump said. A deal with China is potentially very close. Potentially, maybe, likely, but somewhat unlikely, but also possibly close. Trump reportedly told China that President Xi cannot be. He told President Xi that this cannot be an even deal. Basically saying, let's make a deal, but I want to win. China wants to make a deal more than the U.S., he says, and Hong Kong's democracy is a complicating factor. When asked if he'll sign the bill, he said, we have to stand with Hong Kong, but I'm also standing with President Xi. So basically says, I don't know. I can't tell you that. Also, he said the only reason why troops are not going to Hong Kong is because of the U.S.-China trade talks. That's a little bit of a conciliatory tone, I guess. Trump reiterates his positive view of the U.S. economy during the speech. He said that China has not made huge agricultural purchases, which is a sticking point of this deal. All right. Also, he said Vice President Pence has done a remarkable job as vice president. On the rumor, Secretary of State Pompeo set to leave his role. Trump said that he doesn't directly answer the question, but does say he would win easily in Kansas. So basically, here's what was said. All right, we're not sending troops into Hong Kong to, neutralize the situation because we're having negotiations with China. All right, I don't want an even deal. I want to win this deal, and China needs to give up whatever they need. Yet China needs this deal more than us. Yet we're potentially very close, but they're not buying agricultural products yet. Agricultural products are the biggest part, or one of the big parts of this phase one deal. I'm not going to give you the final tally of all that, but you think to yourself how close this deal really is. All right, so be careful with market rallies here. I think we get through 14.5, we'll have some buy stop runs, but that's on the dynamic of too many shorts not getting paid. In the morning, I think we start with a little bit of sell pressure. All right, another government shutdown has been avoided. With little time before the midnight deadline, spending bill extension was signed until December 20th. This basically means that the government will remain open and funded until the 20th of December, which gives lawmakers some more time to pen out a real-time deal, something that's longer, all right, and more appropriate. Congress already passed a 2-year agreement to set budget levels and suspend the U.S. debt ceiling, but they still need to decide where that money goes, and that's going to cause some back and forth. All right, so government shutdowns back in the picture. December 20th is new deadline. Another news this morning, Uber is potentially shutting down in London. That will not be good for the stock price. It's a huge market for the company, unless they're granted a new license by the city's transport authority, where there's 45,000 drivers in London alone. All right. In 2017, London said that Uber wasn't fit and proper to hold a license because they didn't do adequate background checks and were letting people with serious criminal offenses drive cars, and that they wouldn't allow them access to the software to track law-breaking drivers. All right, so that's another news item. And then last but not least, another company, WeWork, the unicorn of IPOs that was supposed to be, is cutting 20% of the workforce. All right, look, how do I talk? I'll spend a minute on this. I remember my wife used to work for a tech company, and I used to work at the bank at the time. All right. And the two cultures were opposite, completely different. I wore the monkey suit, little suit and tie and all this stuff that, people with big money don't really wear very often. So I wore the suit and I met with a lot of people. I was in a sales role, and my wife was kind of in this tech company, which was great. She was designing educational content to support the products they were building. And I remember I walked in the office one day and the whole office stopped. I'm not kidding you. Imagine like an office 4 or 5 times the size of this, and actually a lot bigger, but that's just the main entranceway. And there's people crowded around their computers, and I walked in and everyone stopped and they froze. And I was like, this isn't an audit, guys. And everyone started laughing. It's like the cultures are too different. I'm not saying that there has to be a suit and tie type of culture, but I think a lot of these tech companies these days, they had a beer fridge. They're giving away all these fruit and stuff. Nobody was working. Like, say 10 out of 10 people were like on Facebook doing a whole bunch of stuff, throwing little balls. People are playing ping pong. I'm like, how does work actually get done here? It's nice to have fun. But here's the thing about WeWork. It's kind of sad because the people who gave it their all, who were promised, WeWork's recruiting team actually told new employees that, hey, we're going to give you a lower salary to start, but the share compensation you're going to get once we go public is going to be triple, quadruple the salary anyways. You're going to make your money back. Guess what? That's not going to happen. The people that work the hardest are about to get screwed, especially because SoftBank now is considering trying to offer less per share and to dilute out Adam Newman's stake. He's going to make a lot of money, somewhere about $1.5 billion if he leaves the company. All right. WeWork is slashing 2,400 employees globally, and they're going to hold a conference call at 10 a.m. today. The reason this is interesting is because this is a representation of the entire IPO market. All right. If you look at recessions and how they begin, there's usually 1 or 2 IPOs that really get sloppy and are kind of identified as the peak of a market. And I think WeWork is going to go down in history for that in this cycle, right? So this is the moment where it started to get a little bit harder for companies with no earnings, no income, no net income, a lot of revenue, but more expenses are going in and IPO for multiple $billion valuations. All right. I think this is the kind of the flag of an era, if you will, on WeWork. So I want to discuss this with you. All right. In today's markets, in Asia, Japan's up 0.3%, Hong Kong's up 0.5%, China's down 0.6%. India's down 0.5%, mixed bag of nuts in Asian markets. In Europe at midday, a little bit stronger across the board. London's up 1%, Paris up 0.3%, Frankfurt up 0.1%. Futures in the U.S. Slightly positive for the day. The closing price yesterday was 31.03. Now we're trading 9.5, up about 6 points, and some support structure down into the 6 level. All right, crude oil is down 0.4%, gave up some of its early gains overnight, but now we're opening towards yesterday's previous high and on to new highs. All right. I read some news yesterday that Russia is pretty much, Russia and Saudi Arabia have a new and resurgent relationship that's more positive. And I think they're supporting the price of the Saudi Aramco IPO, and oil's getting a bid. All right. There was an airplane attack a couple of days ago. Also, we had some positive crude oil inventory data, but 3% down and reverse on a 4% rally afterwards. There's some big money bidding this thing up. All right, there's something else at play here. Gold prices are up 0.5%. Bitcoin's down today 10% to low 7,000s. And in today's economic calendar, the big news that everyone was watching for came in at very early this morning, 4:30 in the morning. We had some market services and manufacturing and German data as well, 3:30. German market manufacturing came out at 43.8 versus 42.9. All right, the flash PMI came in slightly lower than expected, and their composite flash number came in line with expectations. So a little bit of positive data. At least it didn't miss like it has in the past, but it's not great either. In the UK, flash manufacturing came out slightly lower, and so did flash services. So that wasn't good. And in today's economic calendar for the U.S., we don't really have much. You have consumer sentiment at 10 a.m. That's important. And then Baker Hughes at 1 p.m. So that's sort of the news flow that's expected for the day. Resistance 14.5 on the S&P. Support down at the 3/4 to 6. Above that level, we stay green on technicals, and market's going to head up. A lot of inventory up at this 30. Stopping ground would be the 20, which is the point control for the 5 days. and slightly above R1. All right, that's what we got. You guys have yourself a great weekend. We're very honored and happy that you're here with us every morning. Really get excited for this every morning that I wake up. I love you all. Have a great weekend. Be safe, be careful, and we'll see you next week. Next week, there's going to be reduced market action. There's going to be some closures around Thanksgiving in the U.S. We'll share that info with you early on in the upcoming week. Take care, guys. Have a great weekend and all the best. Now we send it over to Atlanta for our oil desk to give us an update on the market. YouTube, have yourself a great day. Goodbye. You're welcome, guys. Take care. Ciao.